everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Unfiltered Wrestling. As by ever, we're joined by Tim. Hi, Tim. How you doing, mate?
Hi, Lee. I'm not too bad. Still got a cracky voice, though.
We're here to review Saturday night's main event. Now, right off the bat, there's been quite a serious injury coming out of it with Seth Rollins, which could literally muck up the next 6 months of WWE television. So you said you was a bit worried about this show during the week. I don't know if you was worried for this reason, but...
Yeah, it is. I haven't actually seen the extent of the injury, but it looked bad enough. So much so. I mean, you could see the match was rushed. You could see it was something serious because Seth broke character. But it will certainly play a huge impact. It may even have changed the ending for Saturday night main event as a result.
But we'll get on to that a bit later. So we started off...
So the first match was actually Orton versus Drew. And bearing in mind they had a bit of a build-up on SmackDown with the inclusion of Jelly Roll, I really wasn't sure where this was going to go. I liked the match. It was solid. I especially liked the Claymore kick that Orton put his foot on the bottom rope, protecting both Drew and Orton as a result of that. But it's just the inclusion of Logan Paul and Jelly Roll that made me really struggle with this, I think, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and it feels like, in a way, they've brought Logan Paul backwards. He's gone from being a WWE superstar back to being an influencer, so they can have the two outsiders of Jelly Roll and Logan Paul sort of being the supporting acts. And I get why they're doing it, because the SummerSlam, as we keep saying, is their two-night first time ever. So in a way, this has got to be like a WrestleMania. And they do like to bring outside influences into big shows like that. But yeah, I felt this was a bit weird as well, especially with caliber wrestlers of Drew and Orton, to then put like a Jelly Roll and a Logan with them.
I think you nailed that perfectly. For me, I made notes. I said it made Logan Paul look really weak. Bearing in mind, it was only a couple of months ago he was going for the world title. Now he's getting pushed over by a celebrity. And don't get me wrong, his punches, that stiff shot he gave to Logan Paul was very good, but he's not a wrestler. Obviously, what leads on to the suggestion of a SummerSlam match. I assume this is because ticket sales aren't as good as we'd hoped they were, because you and I had spoken about a possible Orton heel turn. I think that's been put on the back burner for the moment.
Yeah, and it's obvious we're going to get that feel-good moment of Jelly Roll and Orton standing tall after. And it's going to look like that Orton's got to carry Jelly Roll, because like you said, he's not a wrestler. And I don't think, was it 3.5 weeks, they're going to get much out of him. It's a good name to bring in the crowd, like you said. Logan's obviously, as we said, playing the influencer, so that's going to bring his audience still again. So yeah, it's just probably to drive sales and pay-per-view buys or whatever. But yeah, I'm not too impressed with this, especially the route like we were talking about Randy was going. So like you said, yeah, the match was decent. I think Jelly Roll took the Claymore really good.
Yeah, fantastic. He really sold that so well. I don't know whether it was a stiffer shot from Drew, which I can imagine if it was, he had to have agreed to it being stiff. Otherwise, WWE have got a lot of paperwork coming their way. But yeah, no, the match was solid. It's just everything around it I had a problem with.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then, was you surprised that was the first match as well?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was convinced that the first match was going to be the United States title match. But looking at the 4 matches, we knew what the main event was. It was just the running order for the rest of it. We had the GMs, both Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, arguing with Drew and Logan Paul. And I think this was a running theme throughout the show. There was just that, as we said, it was this build up to the SummerSlam match, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's nice to see that the general managers, we've not got all these heel general managers. It's something I've noticed for a couple of weeks. They're just doing a job. Their character isn't some sort of evil boss or play-out boss. They're just somebody that you would expect to have as a role. So I'm really impressed with that. That was followed up with Naomi and Jade. What a fight they have. I'm actually really looking forward to that match on Evolution. I think the No Holds Barred will be great. think, though, with the inclusion of Bianca Belair being named as the special guest referee for that match, I think she's turning heel. I think Bianca is finally turning heel.
Yeah, because you said for a little while Bianca needs to turn heel. I've got an issue. I've not got an issue, obviously, with Bianca returning, but I've got a bit of an issue with her being the special guest referee. I think they just needed to leave that match how it is and then had Bianca come in at the end and do a heel turn or whatever. I don't think she needed to be included as the referee because it takes away the limelight a little bit. And they've been really building on Naomi's character and obviously Jade winning Queen of the Ring. But in a way, that match is now going to be centred around Bianca being the referee and which side is she going to be on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I originally thought that that Jade would win this match, and Naomi would then cash in on Tiffany, and we'd get the final match at SummerSlam between these two for the belt.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's going to happen now. I actually think Naomi's going to win this match, which means I'm not sure she needs to then cash in.
Unless they're heading like a triple threat or a fatal four-way or whatever for the belt at SummerSlam.
Well, I actually think a better way to do this would be to actually have Tiffany go up against Jade. Jade beat Tiffany for the belt, and Naomi then to cash in.
And do you like the angle as well with the attack from in the crowd? I thought that was quite clever. I know we saw it at sort of the Mexican show with Dom, but I didn't really expect it because obviously we've seen the Steiners earlier, and it's showing off Rhea Ripley and a bit of the legends, and then Naomi out of nowhere. I thought it was quite a nice way to do that angle.
Yeah, I think it was the best way to continue the angle. It works for me. Yeah, I can't argue with it at all.
And I think, again, it was a smart move because this was on YouTube across the world, other than in America. It's a different audience, and now it makes people think, oh, actually, I might want to go and watch Evolution like tonight.
Well,
so it was a clever way of marketing as well.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing that does concern me is there was an advert saying that there were tickets still available, and I think that's a bit of a shame because the women definitely deserve to be on top.
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, it's just the wrong weekend, I think. We've had NXT, we've had main event, AEW done their all-in show. Money in America to buy tickets and hop all over states.
No, not at all. Not at all. But this was then followed up with the United States Championship match between the brothers Solo and Jimmy. What did you think?
I think Solo looks weak. It's the way that, like, obviously, with the ending, obviously, he had to come in and get it, they're a faction, so he has to bring his faction down. But the fact that he needed a bit of help and he needed, and I know you said before, it doesn't matter how he looks if he's a heel faction, because in a way, that's what you want from his heels. But I just thought he needed to look a bit stronger.
My notes said, that's a creative finish, but Solo needs to win without help at some point. This is. He needs to start looking a little bit more dominant. If they're pushing him for the main SmackDown faction, he needs to be a little bit more dominant. Much like you, I thought he looked a little bit weak. I thought it was a pretty good TV match. Obviously, they're family, so they've got pretty good chemistry. But it's nothing more I would have expected to see on SmackDown.
Yeah, it was definitely like a SmackDown match. And like you said, because of the family connection, I think some of the shots were stiff, which was made it feel a bit more realistic. They went in on each other, which was nice to see. But yeah, I just think if he's United States champ, especially we had John Cena doing the Open United States Championship thing, we had Logan Paul really elevating the belt, and then all of a sudden you're giving it to someone who keeps needing help to win. I think it weakens that belt as a title.
Mentioning that this belt has been really mistreated for a very long time. I don't think it's just Solo. I thought they didn't do a very good job with Jacob. LA Knight's 2 runs weren't great. Shinsuke's run as well was subpar at best. So I think they need to do something better with this belt, almost like they're doing on Raw, being able to make it prominent at all times.
And that led on to
Seth versus LA Knight. Now, to start with, I thought the match looked pretty positive, and right up until Seth does his knee, I was like, do you know what? I don't think it matters who wins. I think both guys will come across really well. The springboard, the first springboard which he hits, I think it's crossbody. And then
Yeah.
when he goes to do the other one and he flips and he just does his knee in. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I think he's in big trouble now.
Yeah, and this goes back to obviously we put off short earlier. Are they pushing their superstars too much with this schedule? Because Steph's a bit older. We know he's had knee problems in the past. We know he's had back surgery and stuff like that. But if you're putting him in a prominent spot but bringing him out virtually every show, there's going to be moments like that was just an awkward landing, but it looks like that's quite a big injury. And you could even tell by Knight's face he weren't too happy. Like, it swore a couple of times. You could just see he looked frustrated. Like the man gave the little hands up for the split. It weren't big of a celebration. And I think it's definitely a legit injury because of after that, they went straight to the crowd. We didn't see focus on Seth. And I think I've heard rumours that he was meant to cash in at the end of the night. Obviously, I heard that night he was meant to beat Knight. There's loads of stuff flying about. And I just think, yeah, it's just such a shame. But I just think this might be overuse of a person.
Don't know whether you've overused him because he's not had a great amount of matches. I think they've done a good job of protecting him. The problem is he's in such a prominent spot. He is, for all intensive purposes, the number one heel on Raw. He's got two guys underneath him who have been elevated, but they've only been elevated because they're close to him. Without him, I think they're going to struggle a little bit unless they can bring in a new member very quickly. I think this is just bad news for the whole company.
I think they're saving grace in a way. I know SummerSlam's a big show, but I think they've got enough talent to still manage to put the card together. Is you haven't got like a WrestleMania coming up, and I sort of feel like they can sort of, because he's got the briefcase, they now can put things on hold. So his return would be just a cash-in, surprising cash-in whenever he's better. Or you could go down like a bit like the Hart Foundation route. You know when Bret Hart had that broken leg, so they used to win him out in a wheelchair, but still the rest of the Hart Foundation was keeping the faction going for a couple of months. Maybe he sort of turns into a managerial role until he heals, and then cashes in. Or this could just be one of the biggest works. We got our eyes pulled over with Ron Killings is firing. I don't think it is, but there's that little bit of hope that there still might be a surprise cash in at SummerSlam or something. But
I think it's important to remember it's how long he's injured for. If he's out for any long period of time, they're in trouble. But if he's out for what, let's say 2 or 3 months, they'll get away with it. I think if he looks back and he's still not good at Royal Rumble, they're in big trouble.
Or the only other way to do it, if you know he's going to be out, just say a year, and obviously we don't know coming out of it, we're 12 hours by the time this goes out, gone, is you put the Money in the Bank briefcase up again at SummerSlam, and you just go in a whole completely different direction.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea at all.
I don't either. I just can't see.
He has to cash it in before next year's Money in the Bank. So as long as he's not out for essentially 12 months, the briefcase will be good. I think we're now they're scrambling. They're going to be scrambling for SummerSlam. I do feel for Bronson Reed. I think they're going to flounder a little bit. So that is my biggest concern.
I think for them as well, though, what they've got lucky is they've got Paul Heyman, and he can drum up and keep them. I know the matches might flounder or whatever, but he can keep them as Hiddish, like the Hiddish people in the business, because he's mic skills and he knows how to read and play a crowd. So I think, as you said, if it's a couple of months, they're fine. If it's longer, yeah, something's got to change drastically.
I've said to you before, I think they're going to win the tag team champions. I think that's how you shift the focus away from Seth at that point. I think their matches are going to be perfectly fine. It's the direction in which they go with. That's my biggest worry for them.
And did you think, again, it's no one's fault with the ending, but to that harm LA Knight, because I've heard rumours that he's sort of been priced to be the top face for SmackDown while Cody goes off and shoots Street Fighter. So a win over Seth would have been great, but obviously they couldn't have that big win because they literally had to call an audible. And even as you can tell by his finishing move, Seth couldn't land it properly because he was obviously in agony. That it was just a shame. It just felt flat for. I think this was going to be his big crowning moment. He's beat Seth Rollins, and it's all just sour taste in the mouth at the end.
Yeah, I'm with you. I watched it and I thought, yes, you said Seth didn't sit with that, didn't land it properly. You could see he was annoyed. LA Knight was absolutely annoyed. I don't know whether the finish would have had Seth winning so that they lead down the line for a title match. I think now they're going to have to pivot quickly with him.
Yeah.
Because, as you say, he's in that upper mid-card area where he needs to be going for something. But who do you pair him off against?
Yeah.
You've got Damian Priest has now got Aleister Black on his radar. Cody's got John Cena. Randy's got Drew. The Samoans and the Tongans are beating hell out of each other. He's left on his own now, and I'm not sure that works so well. I would have if you're going to look for somewhere, that's where I would have probably inserted a Logan Paul match. I think you could have got something out of that way.
That led into the main event match, Goldberg's retirement.
Yeah, it did. I think the video packages were really good. Although I think the second one, or the last one, they had to stretch out due to the Seth injury. What I did enjoy was the people that were surrounded by him. Doug Dillinger, the former WCW. And I also noticed Ernest the Cat Miller there. And I didn't realise he and Goldberg were obviously friends, because that was a really special moment for me. I couldn't believe he was there.
Yeah, it was nice to see. And I agree, we've always said their video packages are really good. The only thing, and I get it was his retirement, Michael Cole did annoy me a bit throughout the night because everything was linked to Goldberg's. We see him and he'd be like, yeah, like Goldberg did in 1989. You know, you're just like, okay, we get it, Michael Cole. Like, you'll have your moment at the end of the night to give us all the Goldberg stats. But, yeah, no, this match itself as well was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And obviously, that's down to Gunther. We could tell, again, I noticed little things and we didn't hear nothing, but lots of audios were being called by Gunther. So he was obviously pacing the match. He was obviously helping Goldberg through, but it did make Goldberg look strong. I've not always been a fan of Goldberg, but I actually quite enjoyed him in this match.
Yeah, I'm glad his last match was against Gunther. I think it was the right pace. I don't think you needed to go too far for it. But I think the one thing that is worth saying is that Goldberg's selling of his knee injury was fantastic. That's probably some of the best selling I've seen for a long time, especially from a guy who struggled with selling injuries.
And I like the fact as well with the sun, we didn't actually get the sun spot. I know he jumped the barricade, but they squashed that pretty quick. The only thing that's frustrating is like 10 security guards can get on him that quick, but it takes like 25 minutes for another referee to come down when there's always a ref bump.
I'm glad that Charles Robinson took the bump as well. I've been so many Goldberg matches that it is a pleasant surprise.
I think he's going to get Wrestler of the Year body at the SNMEs because that thing with John Cena, the other thing, and then this bump again today. I think he's like more involved than a lot of wrestlers, so maybe he could be the next member of the Seth faction.
That's it, mate. That's the one we go with. I do have to say something though. His spear on Charles Robinson was better than the one he delivered on Gunther, if I'm honest. That looked a little bit clunky.
Yeah, I think he's obviously getting exhausted, and that jackhammer was quick. He used to be able to hold him in the air for a long time. You could tell he just needed to get him up and get him back down.
I liked the jackhammer. I actually thought he did a really good job. I've seen him deliver some really bad ones over like the last sort of 10 years. So that one was one of his better ones, and I think that's a lot of credit goes down to Gunther as well.
And one thing I've got to say, massive respect to Goldberg, because I thought with his ego, and whatever, he wouldn't have wanted to lose the match to the sleeper. Obviously, it's his last match, so he would have got a lot of creative control to what happened in his last match. And the fact that he was willing to end it like that actually gave me a lot more respect for him, because I thought he would have gone for a clunky finish, or he would have gone for a mad DQ or something like that. Like, even getting the Sun involved or whatever, that would have DQ'd the match. The fact it was just a simple sleeper that we know Gunther's very good for, that keeps Gunther strong as a world champion. So I've got to take my hat off to Goldberg for allowing it to go that way.
Yeah, no, I agree, absolutely.
The only thing I did feel sorry for him for, and even with the Seth injury, this could have helped, is obviously when they come back for his retirement, they cut him off right at the end. And I know that's broadcasting issues, and because it weren't on a Netflix or whatever, they couldn't extend their time. It was on a television broadcasting, but it was just a bit of a shame his farewell had to be cut short like that.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be more all over YouTube. I'll check it out later, but I'm with you. I think they should have given him a little bit more.
Yeah, so overall, quite a mixed show. A couple of weird angles and stuff, and then obviously, like we said, that big injury to Seth. But I actually think it was a lot better than I thought going into it. Obviously, the frustrating thing with it being on YouTube is the amount of ad breaks and stuff is frustrating, but it still sets up a nice road to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely.
And obviously, we've had so much wrestling this weekend, and there's still more to come today. But at the moment, Tim, who's your team's talent of the week?
I'm going to go for that nostalgia hit, and we'll call it Goldberg this week. We will say he outshone himself so much so this week, so he'll get my top talent of the week.
I never thought you'd be saying that, Tim, but yeah, totally agree with you. Well, Tim, have a good week, and we look forward. You're going to do us a special Evolution review, and obviously more ramblings.
Yeah, absolutely. I will catch up with everybody during the week, especially after the exciting Evolution pay-per-view.
All right, have a good one, Tim.
Thank you very much, Lee. Take it easy.